cut it to the size of the blank that comes with the kit, and you drill. Hopefully you have I use a drill press. Some people use it you drill on the lathe, which is very good. But if you have a good drill press, you can repeat things much faster. And once you've glued in your brass, some people use medium-sized quick glue, crazy glue or whatever. Not crazy glue, but CA glue. If you hesitate, you're finished. So I'm slow. I use Gorilla Glue, and I do it I turn the pen the next day. So I have no problems with that. So you have as many sticks of wood as you can imagine. And here I'm just going to mount, the pen is mounted on the lathe the way you need the mandrel. It's a long shaft, 7 millimeters. There's 7 millimeters and 8 millimeters, depending on the size of the pen you're going to be turning. The bushings, of course, you've all seen the bushings that were here tonight. So that's where I don't know, I have no proof, but I think that's where they make their money. Because every stupid pen style has a different set of bushings. And it costs about $1, at the most, $1 to make, and they charge you $5.95. So, and they love to sell you bushings. They'll never refuse. That having been said, I didn't bring my famous tools with me because they were too heavy. So I brought my standard roughing gouge, my skew that I use quite a bit, but I often use the round skew because I find that with the other one, although I have the edges are nice and rounded, this is round. So I don't get that flapping and then when you flap, you sort of have a tendency to hook and gouge and groove and whatever. But after a while, you can get used to it. And if nobody's looking, don't worry about it. The more you hook, the less you will the next time. Now, what I like to do, depending on the wood, if there's a grain that I'm scared of, you hear some people here saying that the big piece, the chunk comes out. And the best thing to do is to take your skew and just put in a series of small little cuts, especially at both ends, so that when you hook, because if you do hook with this and you do take a piece out, your pen is finished. And if it doesn't go around fast enough, I speed it up. There's no science involved in pen making, although I like to pretend there is. So you just go very gently, and you can, I don't know what I can show you with the skew, but I mean, I'm sure that you've all had a piece of wood on the lathe and you've used the skew. You can just go back and forth and talk to your neighbor while you're doing it until you get it down close to the size of the bushing. Then that's where the pen making is, right at the bushing. So we'll do that in a few minutes. So you just keep going. You can go both ways. So you can use the roughing gouge if you wish. or the big skew. After a while, this becomes a very nice tool. You get it, but I like to hold it here. I get a better grip, and I can hold it down on the, and I lay it down. Getting close. 25 years ago when I started making pens, I practiced with many different things, and I listened and I read and I watched TV and I listened to everything, and then I got into the habit, my own habit, which wasn't a good one, but it's the only one I know, and I make the pens my way. And I've yet to have a customer complain. The thing I like the most is when a customer has bought a pen and I get a phone call saying, I bought a pen from you 5 years ago. I know that it's no longer under warranty because, you know, two days are gone. But he wants another one. And that's what nice, I like making pens. Now, if you're making bowls, I guess you get the same thing. I made bowls, but I had 5 sisters, and I only had one brother who was a woodturner. And between the two of us, we couldn't keep those 5 girls happy with bowls, because there was always one bowl that was bigger, smaller, nicer, thicker, darker colored, blah, blah, blah. So I took those bowls, and I was here one night, and somebody said something, and I decided to become a pen turner. And I'm still broke, but I love making my pens. So here you have to be careful. Make sure that you don't talk too much and keep your nose to the grind. So when I get close to the size of the bushing, I sort of use my finger. I stop it. I loosen it and I turn the blank. Because I found that will average out the circumference of my pen. And often, when I take the gouge again, I'll get a little bit of dust where I would not have in the first place. So here we go. See? Just a little bit. The big thing is that after a while, you have to sand, and I sand. I'm very cheap. This is stuck on my lathe, and what it is, I have 400, 600, 800, 1,000, and they're all little squares. And what happens is that I take a little piece of foam, sponge or whatever you call it, and I never go back. I only use a piece like this, and I never go, I put it away, I throw it out, because I've tried too often to use sandpaper progressively, but when you sand with 400 and then you sand with 600, you end up sanding 400 grit with 600 sandpaper, and you get, it doesn't work. You get the dust on the paper, and you got 400 dust on the paper on the 600 grit. Ça marche pas. Put it in the garbage. So that's why I'm cheap. I cut them little pieces, and I'll show you how I do it. This is my favorite friend, Varsol, solvent, or anti-whatever you want to call it, a paint thinner or anything that evaporates very quickly. I sort of sprinkle it on a little sheet, on a little cloth, and that wipes off the sawdust as I sand. And all I have to do is watch it, and your ear will tell you when you've sanded enough. You can hear the grinding. Maybe I should have lowered it a little bit to sand, but it doesn't make a hell of a lot of difference. Then I stop it and I go back and forth just to get the little grooves that I put in when I sanded circular. All right. There, that one's garbage. And then I go 400, 600. It's like watching paint dry, you know, but if you're a good singer, it's not too bad. And I usually get rid of all this so it doesn't come up and hit the pen. So I sand 400, 600, and a little bit of 800. And this is 800. And anything higher than that, you're losing time, because I have some finishes. I don't know if you've seen this. This is William Woodwright. I just bought it. Superior grit, and it's supposed to go, you see it says here, to the equivalent of 1,000 grit. So anything to save time, just take a little dab, lower the speed, and you're sanding at 1,000 grit. But you know, when you're making pens and all by yourself in your shop, and the biggest order I ever got was for 150 pens from the G7 and the G20 convention. The federal government had 10, 12 years ago, which was one hell of a repetitive procedure, because they all look the same. And this I just slow it down, and I put a little bit of this shillelagh wax on it. So you just put a little bit on. You put it on slowly so it doesn't splash all over the place, and then you can speed it up as far as you want. Now it should shine. It should, I said. But like Damiano says, this is when it should go wrong, if it's going to go wrong, when you're doing a demo. So I'm okay with that. This, the final product, conservatory wax. They use it in museums and churches for the benches and the pictures, the frames of paintings and so on, because it eliminates fingerprints. And I'm down to here. In 20 years, I'm not buying another jar. But I just put it on like that, and then I rub it a little bit, and I see that I should have paid too much. Anyway, I wanted that little black ridge that's there. If you look at the pen, you'll see. I wanted it to be there, and that was the difficult part of turning the pen. Now, you don't make money making pens. You only make money saving on the equipment that you use to make the pen. So you got to use everything over and over and over. Now, I would say that that's as good as this pen is going to be. Now I'm going to assemble this pen. This is a great little machine. Gentlemen, I think I'll forfeit assembling the pen. Yeah, that's what I thought. I'll take it home, I'll fix it, and I'll change the mechanism from a pencil to a pen. And next week, if you're here, you may win it in the raffle. So other than that, there's very little I can say. I'm sorry, I wanted to show you how smart I was. And that's what I did. Now you all know how smart I am. My God. But